Well, as early as this afternoon, the full House of Representatives could vote on whether to hold former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows in criminal contempt of Congress. The House Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol attack unanimously voted to move that measure forward last night after Mark Meadows refused to appear for a deposition under subpoena. Meadows' lawyer argues his client is merely respecting former President Trump's claim of executive privilege. Well, ABC's deputy political director Averi Harper joins us now with the latest. So, Averi, Mark Meadows, has previously submitted 9,000 pages of emails and texts to the committee. He's written a book in which he describes the scenes that are happening. He quotes the former President Donald Trump. His lawyer says in the statement, nevertheless, that he has never, quote, stopped cooperating, but he says Meadows cannot be compelled to appear for questioning because he's not licensed to waive executive privilege claimed by the former president. Well, he sure waived part of it, and I'm not sure witnesses can choose, well, I'll tell you this much of what President Trump said. The rest I'm going to leave to the privilege that the president might have or might not, being the former president. Can you sort this out for us? Where does it stand?
Right. Well, listen, it is not the prerogative of Mark Meadows or his attorney to be able to determine if he is cooperating with this investigation. That is for the committee to determine, and they have said that he is not cooperating. First, I would say that his argument and his attorney's argument that is a flawed one, and we've seen the committee over and over again talk about the flaws in his argument. Number one, the fact that he did publish that book. He has spoken about the events of that day, the conversations that he has had with the former president about January 6th. And secondly, it is President Biden who has waived executive privilege in Meadows' case. And so it's still, up to interpretation, and the Supreme Court might take this up to determine whether the former president could, call for executive privilege in this case. But for right now, we do know that the committee, the House Select Committee investigating January 6th, wants Mark Meadows to come and be deposed, and he has refused to do so. And in that case, that means that he is not cooperating in this case.
And Averi, as you know, we've seen this play out before with Steve Bannon. Yes, different positions, two different men here. But for this former chief of staff, what do we expect we'll see on the House floor today, and where will Republicans stand? What's the likelihood that Meadows actually sees some jail time here?
Right. Well, what I think we're going to see today is we're going to see mostly Democrats and perhaps some Republicans vote in favor of holding Mark Meadows in criminal contempt of court. That means that his case will be referred over to the Justice Department, which will determine how to proceed in this case. And that is really what is the case here in the House, is what we've seen with a lot of things having to do with January 6th, that for the most part, Republicans do not want to talk about this, and so they are not going to, go along with Democrats in this case in order to hold Mark Meadows in contempt of court. So we'll see what the Justice Department decides to do and how they decide to proceed. But I think that we're going to see Mark Meadows be voted and held in contempt of Congress, the first former House member to be held in criminal contempt.
Let's see how that goes if the Justice Department does decide that. So, the Republicans might not want to talk about it, but they have been talking about these stunning text messages. Everyone is in Washington right now that Mark Meadows received, because remember, he did, as you said, turn over his text messages to the committee, and he received some of these messages on January 6th while the attack was happening, and they're quite revealing. The committee released them last night. So Donald Trump Jr. telling Mark Meadows, quote, he's got to condemn the riot ASAP. That's Donald Trump's own son saying that, not texting his dad, but his chief of staff, where Meadows responded that he was pushing hard. Also, Fox News host Sean Hannity texting Meadows during the insurrection, quote, can he make a statement asking people to leave the Capitol? And Laura Ingraham, the Fox News host, writing, Mark, the president needs to tell the people in the Capitol to go home. This is hurting all of us. So these texts really do tell us something, not just about Trump's inner circle and what was happening that day, but also about, what the Fox News hosts were saying in one hand in public and what they were saying behind the scenes. But let's focus on what does it tell us about that day?
Right. I thought that those text messages were stunning to be able to hear as Liz Cheney and other members of the committee read those text messages aloud, just what the conversations were. And to me, it shows that they all saw what we were all seeing on the outside, right? That it was absolute chaos as those folks who, journeyed up to Capitol Hill attacked the Capitol. And storm the Capitol building. And this was a crazy, crazy event. And so we have folks who have since downplayed the events of January 6th, who have likened it to a tourist visit, who have said that it is a false flag operation, who have, put forth conspiracy theories about that very day, that they were contacting Mark Meadows in order to talk about how insane the events of that day were. And so it was quite stunning and revealing and eye-opening to see that those folks thought that what was happening that day was inappropriate and that the President of the United States should address it immediately. We know that there were hours that went on between those text messages and when we actually heard the president say something. But it is quite. It's a bombshell, really, to be able to get into some of those text messages. And what we don't know yet, we know that there were communications between Republican lawmakers and Mark Meadows as well. We don't know who those lawmakers were. So we do know that the investigators are making headway in this case. And we know that they want to be able to give the American people a full accounting of what happened that day. And perhaps we're getting closer to that.
And there's certainly more revelations coming from this select committee. ABC News Deputy Political Director Averi Harper, thanks very much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.